This is a very important ban list for Master Duel. Much more important than any other ban list in recent history. How could that be? Well, the OCG ban list hits have historically been reflected onto the future Master Duel ban lists. The OCG controls Master Duel, not the TCG. Now, the reason this ban list specifically is so important is due to a recent card release, which is the Fuwaross. Now, instead of just reading this to you, let me show you the analytical data on why this is an issue. We click on the tier list and we switch on over to the OCG. I'm sure a bunch of these decks may get hit, but more importantly is the tech tier list, where we see Maxx C at the top, of course, but here, Fuwaross at 73% usage, mostly used at 3. How is this an issue? Clicking on this, we'll see that this card is only activatable if you control no cards, and similarly to Maxx C, you draw per special summon, but only if they summon from the deck or extra deck. So what this is essentially is a much more balanced version of Maxx C, and if you're still not seeing the issue here, the problem is not about this replacing Maxx C because it's not good enough. It's about using this with Maxx C to essentially give you 6 copies of Maxx C. If we all agree that Maxx C is immensely powerful and very controversial, why would Konami double down on giving you another card with a similar effect if it weren't instead for the purpose of replacing Maxx C? So, with this ban list, this is the first opportunity to showcase, is that the situation with Fuwaross? Is it released for the main purpose of replacing Maxx C? I've been hyping this up for a while. Hopefully they banned Maxx C. If not, this is going to look really silly. But let's hop into the ban list. Let's go. Boom. All right. What do we have here? Newly unlimited Blaster Dragon Ruler of Infernos. Probably going to be unlimited with alongside the other Dragon Rulers. It's not really doing much in Master Duel. They are all level 7 monsters that are summonable from the hand or graveyard by banishing 2 dragons and or their same attribute. But more important in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I think is their second effect, which is activatable from the hand. If you discard the same attribute, the Blaster will pop a card in the field. And we have Redox here. Discard the same attribute, reborn a monster from the graveyard, which you could discard Maxx C. Something I was doing over 10 years ago with this deck when I played it in the TCG. Let's keep on going. Yep, title. This is a Foolish Burial. Send a monster from the deck to the graveyard. It doesn't even have to be a water monster. That's wild. And then you have Tempest. Search your deck for a wind dragon monster by discarding a wind. Or no, the other one is you get to add any dragon from your deck to your hand. It doesn't have to be a wind. That's the effect if it gets banished. Now, let's see what else is here. So again, this is not going to be doing too much. It's been used in Armed Dragon. Let's see. Performage Plushfire. This is not an unbanned. This is going from 1 to 3. So that means we could look at some analytics to see if this card has done anything. Now, it of course is doing nothing in the TCG because Pendulum is not so good with Electromite being the main card for Pendulum decks. But it being not unbanned, it's been in the OCG for a little bit. Let's click on that. Still, no decks available, no tournament tops. So going from 1 to 3, I'm sure that's not a big deal. If I'm wrong, let me know. And then once they test that out in OCG and it again does nothing, expect it to happen in Master Duel. Let's keep on going. Spiral Quick-Fix. All right. This card is a part of a deck that, in a meta that I'd never played in, but it was a tier 0 deck is what many were saying. But I know what it does in Master Duel, and it contributes to very long turn 1 plays to then end on some super toxic stuff. So if we switch on over to the Master Duel stats here, we could see some mad lads using it. Let's see, SKD, look at this craziness, 60 card deck, wham bam, thank you ma'am, super combo, wombo. And there you go. So it's mostly unlimited in Master Duel. It's not doing that much of a big deal, having that much of an impact in the meta. And I would be thanking Maxx C mostly for that being the case. Now, let's keep on going. Spiral Quick-Fix. And this is also lends to the situation on Maxx C where I think just banning Maxx C would not be a good idea. And the idea of replacing Maxx C with a similar card is much better because if you were to just ban Maxx C, then you'd have to look at other decks like Spiral and further balance them, I believe, because you'd have to do so much more changes on the decks that are being held down by Maxx C. Let's keep on going. Zeus, 1 to 3. This happened across the board. It's already been like that in TCG. Just happened in Master Duel. I don't think anyone's playing more than 1 anyway. If the unicorn from Kashtira ever becomes popular, that's why you'd want to play more than 1 because they usually ban your Zeus from your extra deck. So I guess by unlimiting this, you could give further buffs to Kashtira as the main counter is now usable at more than 1. Click on Master Duel stats. Let's see if anyone's using more than one. Cash Tira, sure. If a deck randomly banishes from their extra deck through, let's say, a Pot of E, that could be a good reason to want to play more than one. That's another reason. Or you want a Pot of P if you want to banish multiple cards from your extra deck. All right, even though that's not random. Let's keep on going. What else? Majespecter Unicorn, 1 to 3. Inconsequential. I believe this is not really doing much. The OCG, it's being played in some Endymion decks. So let's click the OCG tab here. 1, so I guess there's just 2 Endymion decks. And in the Master Duel stats here, Majespecter is only carrying to play it at 1 anyway. So again, inconsequential. Let's keep on going. Raigeki, from 2 to 3. This is something that could be happening in Master Duel. Definitely a turn 2 board breaker card, which we have Dark Holes already, I believe, is fully unlimited in every single format. Yup, fully unlimited. So it's very similar to that. This is good for turn 2 decks, and turn 2 is a big problem in Master Duel. As we saw on Master Duel Meta, the analytics of the World Championship, going second without a resolved Maxx C resulted in a 37% win rate. I believe that's unacceptable. And then when they did resolve Maxx C and it didn't get negated, it would jump up by 10% overall to 47% win rate. That's crazy. So in essence, the Maxx C is almost a necessary evil where, again, we can't just ban it. We need a replacement like the Fuwaross. All right, let's keep on going. My friend Purrely, from 2 to 3. We got a nice little unlimit on the Purrelys. I've been joking on stream that the Purrely deck would get hit more in Master Duel and more people would play it if they replaced all the little cats with waifus instead, something like Diabellstars. Because on the top cards page on Master Duel Meta, this is the in-game official analytics. You look at win rate, and Purrely's all the way up there. So that's crazy when pretty much no one's playing the deck, which also helps increase the win rate when only good players are playing your deck. Let's keep on going. We have Lightning Storm. All right, we are pro board breaker. This is also a different situation within the TCG and OCG where they have a side deck where in Master Duel we are best of 1 because they could then, when they know they're going second, pretty much, even though you're supposed to side deck before choosing first and second between game 2 and 3, you pretty much have a very good guess, 99% sure on whether you're going to go first or second, especially if you lose when you get to choose to go second if you wanted to. And then you get to side deck in a bunch of rocket launchers like Lightning Storms and Raigekis to ensure you have a better turn 2 play. All right, let's keep on going. Newly semi-limited. Alrighty. Ava, from 1 to 2, it's been at 3 in Master Duel. Okay, and I don't think it's been doing anything. Not really a big deal. This is going to be helping you search for the Herald of Orange Light, which is a monster negate. It was popularly used in Drytron, which was one of the most toxic metas of Master Duel ever. Think about this. Master Duel released with Drytron at full power. So we, at the height of release, at the height of popularity and all that craziness, everyone came in to check out Master Duel just to get infinitely negated by the Herald of Perfection and Herald of Ultimateness. So it definitely left a big stain on Master Duel's release and turned a lot of people away from the game. I think at peak there was 200,000 concurrent players on Steam, which is now dramatically dropped. And I would blame Drytron for a lot of that. Konami really did drop the ball. But since then, the deck is, hit a bit, and there you go. So Ava at 3, not so much of a big deal anymore. Let's keep on going. Speedroid Terratop. This is interesting because it's already at 3 in Master Duel and TCG, and it's not really doing that much. It is just going from 1 to 2 in OCG. This is good in Master Duel for the purpose of summoning something like an Eye Sold or making a rank 3 Xyz, or as you can see here, the Cherubini requires you to have 2 level 3 monsters. So you do is you special summon the Terratop, search for a Take Tomborg, special summon it. Without committing to your normal summon, you have a 1 card, rank 3 Xyz, or a Link 2 play. And let's keep on doing it. All right, it was even used in Salamangreat, as you saw on the usage stats. Dino Wrestler Pankratops, more pro turn 2. This is good. This is a trash card going first. Your opponent has to control more monsters to special summon this. And what's really good about this card and really healthy is it counters a card like Skill Drain because it tributes itself to pop a card on the field dodging a toxic floodgate like Skill Drain. All right, still just going to 2 though. They're being very careful even though it's not really doing anything. Let's see. Invoker from 1 to 2. Okay, so I guess so what's interesting about this is if this is considered a big choke point where you want to use your Imperm or Ash Blossom onto it, as you can see, it's not a hard once per turn. So what happens with a card like I Sold, which is a Link 2 Warrior, if you negate that, you could then summon a second copy to use its second effect, which is a hard once per turn, but a lot of people get tricked into using it on the first effect. But anyway, yeah, consider playing 2, I guess, anti-unicorn, and if it gets disrupted, just summon another one if you have enough juice to do so. All right, not too big of a deal. Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. So this is going to be for Pendulum. I don't think this is really doing anything in Master Duel. It's been at 3 for a while. And, used at 2, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, all right, Pendulum, sure. Let's keep on going. Gold Sark. Ooh. This is very interesting. A card that I never thought would leave the limited to 1. This is something. This is not a hard once per turn. Back in the day, there really wasn't anything as a hard once per turn. If you have multiple copies, you activate multiple copies. Why not? So this is insane. Let's see what decks is being played in. It's obviously being played and branded in Master Duel. In the TCG, branded, Ritual Beast, Grand Maju. Now in the OCG, there's a brand new deck, Malice. Malice, formerly known as Malice, is all about your monsters being banished and then they reborn back onto the field for, their cool card effects. So that is definitely something. Double Gold Sark for Malice. I see this specifically as a buff for Malice, and it's also a buff for Thunder Dragon specifically. Thunder Dragon and Malice are going to be benefiting the most from this. Will Brandon be playing it also at 2? Possibly. You can see some people are not using it. Go on Master Duel stats. I think it's 100% use. See, not even 100 on Master Duel, but 100 for Thunder Dragon. Definitely huge for Thunder Dragon and the upcoming Malice. So I will tell you this. Maybe I should not tell you this. If this were to ever get semi-limited in a Master Duel ban list, then I think that's Konami leaking to all of you that Malice is coming. So there you go. Tie this to Malice on a future ban list for Master Duel. Up next, Fusion Destiny from 1 to 2. All right, it's at 2 already in Master Duel, at 3 in TCG. In Master Duel, we do have Anaconda, which could also copy this. So, remember back in the day, DPE, non-target pop for everyone. And I remember on the analytics for Master Duel and how much money it made that month, it made 3 to 4 times more money that month than the previous month and the month after because everyone needed DPE in their deck. So Konami is fully aware when they make these techable engines that can be used in any deck and how much money it makes them. Let's keep on going. Branded opening from 1 to 2, lessening a hit on branded. I feel like OCG, which is Master Duel Konami, they have a thing out for branded. They really do not like branded because a lot of the deck is severely hit compared to the TCG. The TCG, they have triple Alibur. They recently used to have triple branded fusion for a long while, but then they finally hit the branded fusion of 1. And I think it was only because of the deck now being associated with a toxic floodgate of locking out your opponent from being able to make any plays. So a non-interactive duel, that's totally not cool. But everything beyond that, branded was a fine deck in the TCG. But even though it's severely restricted in Master Duel, it just can't escape the tier list. It's still there. So we look at Master Duel, 1-1. The Serenir was limited 1 because of it. We have the Alibur semi-limited. I cannot freaking believe this. All these hits branded opening to 1. So let's go back on over to the OCG tier list here. The ban list, that is. Whoa! Wait, hold on. It's not banned. Maxx C? Wait, on semi-limits? What? Whoa. Maxx freaking C got hit. Actually, this got to be because of the Fuwaross. It has to be, but why is it not banned? Why is it not banned? Semi-limit instead. I guess, the scenario where you have Maxx C and 2 Fuwaross is going to be reduced now, so your Club of the Graven Ash could help stop that toxic combo, but still, you went from 3 Maxx C to 6 Maxx C to now 5 because you have 3 Fuwaross and 2 Maxx C in your deck. I think this puts the card on notice, right? They have done this previously with another card, if I remember correctly, where they first semi-limit, maybe see the reaction, see how the meta shapes up a bit, and then they just go through with the ban. They just kill it. So, wow, this tells us, this shows everyone that the Maxx C is not invincible. And what's really funny is very recently, Konami posted on their official OCG Twitter a 13-year birthday anniversary for the existence of Maxx C. And I was thinking about maybe reading some of the Japanese comments to see what they think about Maxx C compared to the non-Japanese players, because as we know in the West, everyone hates this card. But I believe in Japan, the Japanese players do not hate this as much as we do. So, wow. So there you go. There you go. Fuwaross got Maxx C semi-limited, not banned though. So that is a bit of a disappointment because I thought it would lead to a ban. But I don't know. I think this could still be a ban for Master Duel. I mean, it being touched, that's got to mean something. So when do we expect to get the Fuwaross? Fuwaross is released in July 26 of 2024, very recently. So sometime in 2025, I think. 2025 will be the year. So early 2025 is when we should expect to get the Fuwaross. And preemptively before it comes out, I do expect, I mean, at minimum, they may just semi-limit, probably limit to one, but I would hope for a ban because Master Duel is best of one. It's not best of three with side deck. Wow, that really is something crazy that, you know, a card, again, people thought this is invincible, untouchable. Obviously, it's not. The Maxx C has received a flesh wound, and we got to kill it off next time, maybe. Let's see. Nightmare Throne. From 3 to 2. So this is part of a super crazy one-card combo that ends on 8 to 10 disruptions with one card. So absolutely insane. And just semi-limiting it, not that big of a deal. The deck is still incredible with just at 2. Now let's keep on going. Goes and match. Yep. Floodgates. I hate floodgates. What I really like, I think a well-designed floodgate is something like Baguska. Baguska has a self-destruct feature. And that self-destruct feature is once you no longer have enough Xyz materials to detach during your standby phase, which you have to detach once every single turn, it then kills itself. And I wish more floodgates had that built in, because I really hate the idea of Yu-Gi-Oh! Being just draw the out. Not cool. So sure, if we could just at least limit these, I guess that's at least better. The Timmies need a way to beat better players. They have a chance, and floodgates are one of those good ways. But, you know, again, if something like this had a good self-destruct feature, it would be really strategic and cool to try to stall out your opponent until the Gozen match goes away on its own. All right, what else? What else? Newly limited. Trident from 0 to 1. This is really perplexing to me because this is fully available in Master Duel, and it's not really doing anything. If I bring up the search, I'm not going to have the OCG tab, so it should not spoil anything. If I type in Zodiac, the Rat Pier is limited to 1. The Barrage is also fully unlimited in Master Duel. And again, not doing anything. Now, a lot of people are saying that the Broad Bull, if this were to actually come back, then the deck would become insane. So, and the Barrage, the biggest problem with the Barrage is that it loses to Maxx C, like everything. So that's one of the main pillars of your deck being good within Master Duel and OCG is how well does your deck do against Maxx C? And if you don't believe that, something like Unchained is the perfect example of that, where this was the undisputed #1 best deck in the TCG when Shavara came out, and it never was really good in Master Duel or OCG just because of Maxx C. So Trident coming back, cool. You know, we still have it at 3 Master Duel. I don't think this will do much, but it also doesn't mean anything for Master Duel. What? Masterpiece? Masterpiece, the true Draco Slaying King? This is a super boss monster that I've not played with myself. I wasn't around when this came out in 2017. Holy moly. I don't think this is even craftable in Master Duel. This is a big deal. What's so good about this? So to tribute summon this, you could tribute continuous spell/trap cards you control, so you don't have to. So turn 1, you could play or set continuous spell and trap cards and then just summon it, tribute off 2 of them. And then you're unaffected by the effects of cards of the same type that you tributed. So if you tribute a spell and a trap, you are now going to be unaffected by spell and trap cards at 2950 attack. And then during either player's turn, you have the quick effect to, if you control this tribute, so I was thinking like you have to tribute this card. No, it stays in the field. You banish a continuous spell/trap from the graveyard. Well, how did you summon it? And then you get to target 1 card on the field and destroy it. Holy moly, 2950 towers in a way where it's unaffected by whatever you tributed to summon it. and then quick effect, pop a card on the field. That's something. This being released at 1, is there a really consistent way to get to this? There is a website that has some really old deck lists. I do think I want to maybe upload some of them like this for, you know, the relevancy's sake to see what happened in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! We type in Masterpiece, Destroyer, which one is it? This one? Is that the same thing? There you go. No, this is the wrong one. What the heck? There's 2 masterpieces. There you go. This is the real one. Look at how it was doing in the meta. And if we're to look at a deck list here, how about True Draco Pure? Victor Lee, True Draco? Ain't no way. If we click on this deck list, we could see, oh my gosh, the site's taking forever. There we go. Main decking just 2. So maybe the card was semi-limited. And, triple card of Demise, Dragonic Diagram, I think that searches it. Desire, Duality, Terraforming for the field spell. Yeah, so as you can see, this whole deck was pretty much built to play the Masterpiece. You could destroy one other card, then add the Masterpiece from your deck to your hand. And, you know, without this being at 3, and I mean, Terraforming is at 3. What the heck was Konami doing? So, yeah, definitely interesting. Would this bring back the True Draco deck type, which was always a relatively free-to-play deck within Master Duel? I think that'd be great to see. This is good. This does need to come back in Master Duel for the sake of True Draco being a playable deck again. I'm just not sure that this would be enough, especially if it only came back at 1. So, okay, you know, you tell me if you had experience playing against this or with this, how broken this was, and let's keep on going. Red, what? There's been so many opportunities to bring Dragoon back. We had the anime pack that had a Dark Magician style. We had the Magia pack, and every single time, Dragoon did not get unbanned. This means, very likely, finally, oh my God, this is like the most answered question on stream. DK, do you think Dragoon's gonna come back? Well, my answer has always been, well, it's gotta come out in the OCG first, OCG first, OCG first. Well, that just happened. It has just come out in the OCG. But there's a big problem. We have Anaconda. So Anaconda being able to summon this is not going to be allowed. So they're going to have to ban Anaconda to unban the Dragoon within Master Duel, because otherwise 2 effect monsters makes a Dragoon. And then what? We're going to have the DPE situation all over again, where every deck that could just make an Anaconda is also going to have a Dragoon. So let's see, why is this card so good? Is it being used in the TCG where it's been unlimited at 3? Cannot be destroyed by card effects. Cannot be targeted by card effects. 3,000 attack. It also gains a permanent 1,000 attack anytime your opponent activates a card or effect. You discard a card to negate the activation to destroy that card, then gain that permanent 1,000. So Omni Negate plus a permanent attack boost goes up to 4,000, then 5,000 plus. And then also the less relevant effect if you summon it the correct way, which you don't have to summon it this way, where you use a Dark Magician or Red Eyes Black Dragon. It says that you could non-target destroy 1 monster your opponent controls, and you could use the effect per normal monster used as a fusion material. So let's see the usage here. Let's see some recent decks. We have a Gravekeeper deck here. What the heck? This top to 100 player regional. So what you would do is you activate Red Eyes Fusion, dump the Dark Magician and the Red Eyes Black Dragon. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. You now have a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. And there you go. I guess that's one of the main plays that this deck pulls off. Pada E, randomly banishing it, but we have 3 copies, so to ensure that does not happen, or is much less likely. What other decks? We have, yeah, branded decks are able to use this. As you can see, you know what this card is? It's a Dark Magician. It's not a Hex Seal, it's Dark Magician. So what you do is, you activate Branded Fusion, you send an Albaz and the Hex Sealed Fusion to summon an Albion Branded Dragon. Then the Albion Branded Dragon on summon will then banish from the graveyard the Albaz and the Hex Sealed Fusion, which, what's the Albaz? A dragon. Hex Sealed is a Dark Magician. What's the requirement? Dark Magician plus a dragon effect monster. So Albaz plus the Dark Magician substitute, and there you go. Then you now have Dragoon with Branded Fusion. So, you know, this is Chimera using it, but also some branded decks were using this. So, yeah, this is something. This is something. I guess they're going to have to ban Anaconda to release this, though. There's no way we can have both, right? Snatch Steal. Okay, what is going on here? More turn 2 cards. Equip to a monster, take control of it, essentially permanently, as long as you have the Snatch Steal. Now, there was a recent ruling change with Snatch Steal, where if you were to Book of Moon, flip the card face down, after snatch stealing the monster, you just keep the monster. It's fine. Even though the snatch steal is gone, the monster stays in your field. But the ruling just happened about 4 days ago, where now if you flip the monster face down and the snatch steal goes to the graveyard, the face down monster is not considered wiping away the effect of it being stolen by being flipped face down. It instead goes back to the original owner of the card. So yeah, there you go. And maybe that's why they're able to further unlimit cards like this. Snatch Steal is also searchable. If you can make an I Sold and special summon from the deck the level 1 Infernoble, that could then grab the Snatch Steal as you dump this from the deck to the graveyard to then add it back. That is something, you know, searchable, steal the opponent's monster. Okay, again, more power for turn 2. We need to bump up the win rate. 37% winning without Maxx C resolving, completely unacceptable. Diabellstar from 3 to 1. In Master Duel, it is already... No, it's not hit in Master Duel. They hit Wanted Seeker in Master Duel instead. Wanted Seeker went from 3 to 1 in Master Duel, and I was thinking, yeah, it makes sense they wouldn't hit Diabellstar because she's a waifu. That's it. Keep her at 3. So this shows that Konami is telling you right now, she's putting your waifu on the watch list. She's not safe. She could possibly get hit. And what is she tied to these days? She's tied to so many different decks. We have Snake Eye Fiendsmith, Rescue Ace, another flavor of Snake Eye, even Volcanic. What about OCG, the new decks? So the newer decks like Malice and the Ryzeal are not using this. So, you know, the Diabellstar is starting to become old. She's looking kind of old. She's almost a year old now. She is a year old. Let's keep on going. We have Snake Eye Poplar from 3 to 1. This was a card that I wouldn't say I was predicting would happen. I would say I was suggesting should happen, that the Poplar could go to 1. And I also talked about it in the TCG going to 1, where now this turns into a hard Garnet. If you normal summon your Snake Eye Ash and you have a Poplar in your hand, your Snake Eye Ash is not as good anymore, and you're not forced to normal summon your Poplar, which kind of sucks. So a lot of people are definitely playing this at more than 1 because of that. They don't want it to be, you know, the likeliness of having both in your hand is much less likely. So, all right, do consider this being a possibility within Master Duel. Let's keep on going. Tenpai, more Tenpai hits. If we look at the tier list here for OCG, Tenpai Dragon is still a top 2 deck in the last month of tournaments. If we go in the last 3 months, let's see, still top 2 with a different top 1 deck. And I'm afraid to, well, I guess I could look at it because it's just going to show the TCG initially. We're not going to highlight any of the cards to spoil us. We can see the Sangan Summoning is limited to 1, and even with this card limited to 1, the deck is still top 2. So now, with the Chandra going to 1, that is going to be... Oh, I have it on OCG. Oops. Okay, did I spoil anything? I didn't even see. We're good. Whoops. Okay. Now, the Chandra going to 1, in addition to the field spell already being at 1, the question is the deck going to still be top tier? And again, I keep on saying this when we look at ban lists for TCG and OCG. It's so awkward to see cards get hit in a different format before they are even released within Master Duel. So are we going to be, because then the question arises, are we going to see a pre-hit on the Chandra, or are we going to see a pre-hit on the Sangan Summoning when Tenpai comes out in the Master Duel? So we'll be seeing for that. Let's keep on going. There's something. I think it's still probably going to be a top tier deck. Yeah, I think so. I think it's still going to be great. They have so many other cards to help make the deck more consistent. I should actually go back to that real quick. They got the Genroku. They could just bump this up to 3 now. The Dora, they could bump this up to 2 or 3, which you know, essentially searches for the Chandra to then special summon it onto the field. It being limited to 1 makes it more susceptible to something like, let's say, a DD Crow. Or if you're going to be playing with Shifter and you lose your 1 Chandra, that's it. So now your own Shifter hurts your deck a bit more as you lose your single copy of Chandra for the rest of the duel. So, you know, for that reason, that's actually a very good hit. Make the deck more susceptible to its own Shifter. Phantom of Yubel from 3 to 1. This card makes no freaking sense that it's not a hard once per turn on its summon. This definitely needs to happen across the board. It actually just needed to be on the creation of the card. It should have just, like I said, be a hard once per turn summon. So the fact that you can continually special summon this, link it off, then summon another one, so disgusting. And so, yeah, that's good. This is now a possibility within Master Duel. I predicted the next Master Duel ban list to be a light hit to Yubel and Snake Eye Fire King. Remember, I'm not telling you what I think should happen. I'm telling you what I think is going to happen. And for Master Duel, I think the Spirit Gates will go to 1. And then I also think for Yubel, well, that is the Yubel hit. For Snake Eye Fire King, I think that Kieran will go to 2. And that would be it. Now, you may be thinking, what the heck? That's barely nothing. Yeah, it's just what I'm predicting will happen after the next ban list, which should be announced next freaking week. And you could use the Nightmare Throne to return your single copy of Phantom of Yubel back in your extra deck instead of summoning something like a Terra Incarnate onto the field. So now you have that choice. Do we recycle the Phantom of Yubel or summon the Terra Incarnate? This is good. And, you know, again, being susceptible to counterplay like a Deity Crow or a Bestial, that's always good. I think that is a good thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! We want to encourage interaction. It always feels bad when you try to time a well-timed interactive card, like let's say a Bestial, and then they're like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. I have a second and third copy. Oh, you negated my Dark Beckoning Beast? Well, I already have a Spirit Gates in my hand, mate. Not cool. So good. Make Yu-Gi-Oh! Optimally interactive. Let's go. You should be rewarded for, you know, using a well-timed negate or disruption. Engraver. Speaking of cards getting hit before they come to Master Duel. Oh my gosh. Gia's not going to like this. The Fiendsmith Engraver has been hit to 1. I overall want to look at the Fiendsmith cards from the TCG and OCG, but I do not want to spoil myself. You know, this card is nuts. It's a 1-card starter. It makes all decks insanely hand trap resilient. It's essentially a second deck within your deck. You could use 2 disruptions just to try to stop the Fiendsmith engine, and then they follow up with a real deck, which is going to be something like Yubel or Snake Eye. Absolute insanity. And I just told you that how much money, well, generally it was like $8 million they made in that 1 month where the DPE came out for every other deck to be playable. And that's what this card essentially is. It's going to be a card that's playable in most decks to make Konami a ton of money. All right, let's go. Fiendsmith Tract. Wasn't this card already? Let me see the usage of this. The Tract was mostly in the TCG. It's played mostly at 1, as you can see here. 1, 1. Only a few are playing it at 2 or 3. If we do the OCG stats, 1 to 2 in Snake Eye Fiendsmith, 1 to 2 in Rescue. Okay, so a lot were playing 1 to 2 between there. Mostly 1, it looks like. Magical Musket. Oh, I'm so sorry. Apparently, they enjoyed the card at 3. And I'm assuming that they thought that this card would become more popularly played at 3 if the Engraver were to be limited to 1. And they were probably right on that. So, all right, you know, kind of like a preemptive hit and also hitting some decks that were playing it at 2. Let's keep on going. Yeah, so what happens here is you grab the Lurie. I should show you that real quick. The Fabled Lurie. You grab Fabled Lurie, then you discard it, then it special summons, and then it starts the whole Fiendsmith engine. And it's also not a Garnet, because you could just search something else and then discard the Lurie that's already in your hand. Nuts. Let's keep on going. Bonfire. From 2 to 1, this card is already at 2 in Master Duel, and this should tell you that a card like this and Diabellstar are now on notice for potentially getting further hit. I was thinking maybe they would hit Wanted Seeker before further hitting the Diabellstar, because the Wanted Seeker being able to draw a card in addition to getting your Diabellstar, I think that's completely broken and super unnecessary. So I would like to see that instead of Diabellstar going down even more. All right, good job. Bonfire from 3 to 1. Is this even being used in a new deck like, let's say, Ryzeal? So OCG, right? Yeah, Ryzeal is using it at 2. So this does also hit Ryzeal. Many of the other decks are also using it, of course, as we know with Bonfire. Yep. So now at 1, hitting every fire deck, including the #1 deck on the tier list in the OCG at the moment. Get Ryzeal in. And if you want to know what this deck does, you can click on this, look at the main disruptions, read this yourself. Pretty damn cool. All right, let's keep on going. Oh, whoa. Beatrice banned. This means, not maybe, I think this is going to 100% be banned in Master Duel. So how are we going to know? What is that going to mean when it happens in Master Duel? Well, when Beatrice gets announced to be banned in Master Duel, that means that Fiendsmith is coming. It's because of the Fiendsmith. The Fiendsmith level 6 fusion enables the Beatrice. The Beatrice could then send a Snake Eye Ash from your deck to the grave or send a D Lotus. Then you can make a Muckraker or let's say a Promethean Princess to reborn your combo piece from the graveyard. The Beatrice could also send the Black Goat Laughs from your deck to the graveyard to then counter your opponent's monster effects. The Black Goat Laughs, a very recent card that just came out to make Beatrice even better. And you can have Beatrice also send the transaction rollback plus a toxic trap to completely shut off your opponent's turn. This is much overdue for getting hit. We have to get rid of this. Yeah, I think so. It will make Fiendsmith a lot more healthy for the game on release than to be dealing with Beatrice. I do not want to be dealing with that, especially the floodgate aspect. Not cool. And another toxic combo is the tier. Something tier. This, the blue tiers. So what happens is you are able to send this from the deck to the graveyard with your Beatrice, and then the card you detach of Beatrice is the level 6 fusion from Fiendsmith, which it inflicts damage to the opponent. So when it inflicts damage, as you send this to the graveyard, you now get to use this card to banish it from the graveyard, set a normal trap directly from your hand or freaking deck. So people are using this alongside what? Let's see on the side deck of what these mad lads are using it with. So in the side deck, see, they're setting up a dimensional freaking barrier. So do you want to be dealing with that? Blue tier and a set dimensional barrier in any Fiendsmith deck within the Master Duel ladder? We do want to avoid that, so good. And, you know, just hit the Beatrice. Get that Beatrice out of here, then that toxic combo is not as good. Let's go back on over to the ban list. I actually lost the page. Let me scroll on down. All right, let's not go too fast. Holy moly, this has been a good ban list so far. This is crazy. Masterpiece Dragoon coming back to Master Duel very likely. And lots of Tenpai hits and Fiendsmith, even Yubel. This is crazy. Beatrice from 0 to 1. There we go. 1 to 0, that is. Wait, that's it. That's the... Okay, full changes. Full changes. Ooh, oh my gosh. So from the bottom to top in relevance, any of these relevant, turn 2 a little bit more important. The, you know, Spiral, sure, you know, for Master Duel relevance, this means nothing besides the Raigeki going to 3. That's going to be good. Now, for Master Duel relevance in the semi-limits, expect the Nightmare Throne to be on notice. Gold Sark to help boost up Thunder Dragon or Malice in the future. I don't think that Brandon's going to be, you know, further unhit because of this in OCG. Maxx C, likely going to get semi-limited limited to 1 or even banned in Master Duel because of this ban list showcasing that it's possible. That is a huge deal. So that's the relevance here. Everything else not really relevant. And what the limited to 1, the Zodiac means nothing. The Masterpiece coming back to Master Duel plus the Dragoon. This is huge. We could try to build an entire deck around Masterpiece as it was back in the day. And then even also build an entire deck around Dragoon. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of people summoning Borreload, Apollo, Baron de Flor, generic boss monsters. I think it's so damn cool to build your entire deck around a single boss monster like we're playing Pokemon, right? You have a Charizard deck. Well, how about I have a Dragoon deck? I have a Masterpiece deck. And I think this is a good way to possibly bring that back. Snatch Steal, you know, already at 3 in Master Duel. We don't really care. That means nothing. The Chundra or the Sangan Summoning probably may get pre-hit. I don't think the Chundra will. I know Fenrir did get pre-hit on release before it came out to us, but this should come out at 3. I do expect the field spell to be limited to 1, though. Yubel on notice. The field spell and Phantom of Yubel, that is crazy. You know, this, as I said, this card needs to be restricted. They screwed up on creating this card. How is this not admitting to, yeah, we done goofed. It should have been summonable only once per turn. The Fiendsmith engine being limited to 1 before even coming out to Master Duel. Oh boy, I don't think this will get pre-hit because I think Konami will want to maximize their profits, even though this has been dominating the OCG. And funny enough, all these hits onto Tenpai, Yubel, Fiendsmith, if we look at the tier list here, that's not really what's, you know, Tenpai's a top 2 deck and, you know, Fiendsmith top 3, but the number 1 deck is Ryzeal. So Ryzeal pretty much goes untouched besides the Bonfire going to 1. That's insane. Do they want to push some kind of tier 0 format or what? You would think that if a new deck that's out that's already dominating the older decks, that maybe the older decks would be safe. I guess not. So do get ready for this future deck type to be clapping it up. And again, you know, you could freeze screen, picture this. This is what the deck's doing. These are the main disruptors of the deck. Very nice. And I do want to mention how crazy this field spell is. It's a monster negate on resolution. So we keep on hearing chain link block negates, right? Well, this can't be chain link blocked. You wait for the monster effect to resolve, and wherever it is on the chain, you then decide, I'm going to negate that one. Not that one, but that one. So you can't even protect yourself from the field spell. Nuts. And then the Beatrice. Across the board, it enables way too much toxicity. No restrictions on send whatever you want from the deck to the grave. Being able to enable something like that blue tier out of nowhere, that made no freaking sense. And if we type in Fiendsmith under the TCG tab, a card like Lacrima is even banned in the TCG because of the Beatrice itself. But then even with Beatrice banned, they still banned Lacrima because that then enables the Caesar, which is a double special summon negate. So the question is Fiendsmith still going to be good if Beatrice gets pre-banned in Master Duel? Yeah. The Caesar double special summon negate and the Fiendsmith engine helping you get to the other cards, and you know, it definitely is. So as you can see, it's already still doing well within the TCG here. See, they're still playing Fiendsmith. If we scroll on down here, and without Beatrice, no Beatrice, they got the Caesar, they're doing fine. If we look at Yubel, and remember, Konami likes money. They want to make money. Again, no Beatrice, you have the Caesar, and the deck again is still doing fine. The big question for when Fiendsmith comes out to TCG, though, is are we going to get Necroquip Princess and Aerial Eater with the Fiendsmith cards? Because these are TCG exclusives, and they make the Fiendsmith engine even better. And yeah, that is definitely a situation there on I'm curious if we're actually going to get these. Now, that is pretty much it for the ban list. Let me know if you enjoyed this video and all that good stuff. 41 minutes, I think we're pretty good on that. Let's see some comments on Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta. Can anyone imagine Engraver at 1 in TCG? I can't. This OCG is almost the best possible, so people like it. They like it. They really hit the top 3 deck. This is quite a nice list. Let's switch on over to Master Meta, which is a lot more popular on the comments here. Let's see, 151. The C is going down. This is not a drill. The C is going. That's right. They finally hit it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is healing. There is hope. There is definitely hope. OCG cooking hard. Holy moly. And yeah, Dragoon in Masterpiece. Definitely a massively influential ban list. I thought that the Maxx C would get banned, so I was wrong on that, but they at least hit it. And it looks like even though the Maxx C was not banned, this still is an incredibly influential ban list for the future of Master Duel. And with that said, we are out. We'll be leaking again. The next October pack leak will be on this Sunday on twitch.tv/Decade. Let's get to it. Let's do it. We out.